this was an attack on a Greek Orthodox priest in Lyon in France. And it came on the back of the wave of attacks from Islamist terrorists, the murder of Samuel Paty and the stabbing attack in Nice that left 3 people dead. So a lot of people wrongly jumped to conclusions and assumed that this was a terrorist attack. And I've seen a lot of reaction online and people saying that now the murderer has turned out to be a Georgian who killed the priest because of an affair he had with his wife, allegedly. People are saying, oh, I bet he won't be called a terrorist anymore. Now, firstly, he's not a terrorist. This is someone who has carried out a revenge attack. And it was an attempted murder. He didn't actually kill the priest. Thankfully, the priest survived. So it's not a murder, it's an attempted murder. It isn't a terrorist attack because it is not politically motivated. Terrorism is attempting to achieve a political goal through violence. So, fair enough, he's not a terrorist. And actually, this event was not being described as a terrorist attack by the mainstream media. I did a search. I looked at The Guardian, I looked at BBC, Sky News. They all described it as some kind of attack without using the word terrorism. A few people outside the mainstream media, figures on Twitter, were attempting to portray it as a terrorist attack because it looked like another Islamist attack. But it wasn't a terrorist attack. It wasn't portrayed as a terrorist attack. The culprit was not portrayed as a terrorist in the mainstream media. But we seem to imagine that this is how these attacks are portrayed before we know the facts, or that it's only because one community is responsible that we call it a terrorist attack, and we don't if it's someone else. We should call things what they are. If it's terrorism, call it terrorism. If it's a murder, call it a murder. It's still bad to murder, by the way. It's not somehow any better than committing an act of terrorism. So yeah, let's not get our imaginations running wild and thinking that things were called terrorism when they were not. And if something is terrorism, let's call it terrorism regardless of the ethnic background or the faith background of the individual responsible.